Welcome to ILTV's Israel Daily. I'm Lidarga Velazian. Coming up in today's newscast. A deadly fire breaking out in the Soroka Medical Center in Beersheba, leaving one dead and others injured. With one day until the vote for a new government, the Likud has finalized all agreements with its coalition partners. And ILTV takes a look into Israeli innovation and what makes Israel a global leader in drone technology. A fire in Soroka Medical Center in Beersheba has claimed the life of a patient and forced the evacuation of an entire hospital wing. A fire erupted on the fourth floor of the Beersheba Soroka Medical Center wing, housing dozens of patients who were evacuated by firefighters. Multiple firefighting teams arrived on the scene and quickly extinguished the blaze. Those rescued included patients who were confined to their hospital beds and attached to oxygen tents. The fire was first discovered by a hospital employee who smelled smoke and heard patients calling for help at just after 3 in the morning. The hospital worker said he saw a man on fire in his bed. He turned on a water faucet and called for a fire extinguisher to put out the fire, which had engulfed his body. When emergency services arrived, the man was found in his bed without signs of life. 2 other patients suffered from smoke inhalation and are in moderate condition. The fire service set up an investigative team to probe the incident, and while details are still unclear, it's suspected that the fire was caused by a lit cigarette next to an oxygen tank, which caught ablaze. Final preparations being made Wednesday ahead of the expected vote in the Knesset Thursday on the new government. The Likud finalizing deals with its coalition partners and handing out ministry portfolios. The details in the following report. Incoming Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is one step closer to his new government, as the Likud and United Torah Judaism signed their final coalition agreement Wednesday morning. The deal ended days of discord between the party's 2 ultra-Orthodox factions and paves the way for a vote on the new government on Thursday morning. The religious Zionist party, Shas, Otzma Yehudit, and Noam also following suit Wednesday. After the signing of the coalition deals, Netanyahu said that his party will establish a stable government for a full term for all the citizens of Israel. Netanyahu also outlined key policy goals for his new government, stating that the Jewish people have an exclusive and unquestionable right to all areas of the land of Israel. He said the government will promote and develop settlement in all parts of the country, including the Galilee, the Negev, the Golan, and in Judea and Samaria. The incoming prime minister said the government would also work to promote the quality of the environment in Israel, including participating and contributing in the global effort on climate issues, and vowed the government will work to strengthen the security forces. Netanyahu also said his government would tackle the high cost of living, transportation reforms, the expansion of the Abraham Accords, as well as reforms in education. In the meantime, Netanyahu also announcing on Wednesday that Amir Ohana will serve as the next Speaker of the Knesset, as Yariv Levin resigned from the post to take on the role of Justice Minister, while Ophir Katz was appointed to the role of Coalition Chairman. And on Tuesday evening, he appointed former Likud member of Knesset Tzachi Hanegbi to serve as the head of the National Security Council. The incoming prime minister spent most of Wednesday handing out key portfolios, such as the Foreign Ministry and Education Ministry, to his Likud party members. And joining us now with more on politics is Gil Hoffman, Executive Director of Honest Reporting and former Jerusalem Post political analyst. Hi, Gil. Thank you for joining us.
Pleasure being with you, Lidar.
So the coalition deals are signed and details emerging of the substance of these deals. What can you tell us, and is there anything that stands out or is surprising here?
Well, if you look at what's been reported in Israel and around the world since the election on November the 1st, everything had been so extreme and crazy and really focused on what Netanyahu's coalition partners on the right wanted to do. Today, at least, we're finding out that the coalition guidelines have things that are consensus, like moving the Abraham Accords forward, cutting taxes, taking steps to help small businesses, things that are going to improve everyday life here, and not just things that are intended to allow the coalition partners to try to prove that they're more right-wing than one another.
And as you mentioned, though, there was a lot of criticism even before the government has even, started on day one. How is Netanyahu going to be able to sort of maneuver between all his coalition partners and really push forward what the Likud is hoping to achieve?
He's got to start. I mean, right now, after he said that he wanted to have a government within 2 weeks of the election, it's been 2 months, and the work will really only begin after it's already 2023, and that's when he has to start throwing weight around. And he decides what the coalition is going to be advancing in the Knesset, what bills come to a vote first, and he's going to have to make clear to them that they each got one bill for their agenda. It's time to implement his agenda, which is apparently very different than theirs. This is not as homogenous a coalition as we might have thought.
Absolutely. Now, what about within the Likud? We are hearing today, though, of a lot of disagreement within Netanyahu's own party over the portfolios being handed out. So what portfolios has he handed out so far, and who has been left out?
Well, when this recording is being taped, it seems like having Katz as your name is a very good way to move forward in the Likud, because we'll have Israel Katz as the foreign minister, Ophir Katz as the coalition chairman, and Chaim Katz, who does not speak English very well, will be our minister of tourism. So we also know, as we've known for a while, the defense minister will be Yoav Gallant. That's now official. The justice minister is going to be Yariv Levin, the man closest to Netanyahu. Some of the smaller portfolios, we're waiting to see what will happen. Diaspora affairs portfolio, pretty important to the people watching ILTV, not as important to the members of the Likud faction. There's a big fight to not get that job.
And, Tzachi Hanegbi was sort of a big surprise with his appointment. Why did Netanyahu tap him for this position and not take someone from within the Likud who's higher up on the list?
I mean, he was given a post of national security advisor as someone who's not a minister or a member of Knesset. So I don't think any of the members of Knesset would have left for that post. But it's a recognition that he's been involved in security issues now for 40 years in politics. Netanyahu respects him. He trusts him. He gets along with him. And he's not seeking to advance himself politically. He's not going to run again for the Knesset. Netanyahu can really only rely on people who aren't trying to move themselves forward at his expense.
And so looking forward to tomorrow, what can we expect will happen in the Knesset tomorrow? Can you walk us through it? What's going to happen with the vote?
So first of all, you're going to see Amir Ohana approved formally as the new Speaker of the Knesset, which will make history, the first ever member of the LGBT community to receive this lofty position of power that involves even a grave on Mount Herzl. And then there'll be the vote on the new government and the swearing in of Netanyahu. And immediately after that happens, he will go sit down in that prime minister's chair that he's so familiar with, that Yair Lapid will abdicate. And when that happens, Netanyahu's been in power every year, at least for a day, since 2009, and that's definitely a formidable accomplishment.
Absolutely a formidable accomplishment. All right, Gil, thank you so much, but stay with us because we will be back to you very shortly on another issue. And if you haven't already, check out our new and improved website at ILTV.tv. Moving on, Israel and Turkey were once very close allies, but relations between the two countries took a turn for the worse and have been strained for over a decade. But now, in a sign of warming relations between them, Israel's new ambassador to Turkey returning and presenting her credentials on Tuesday. Steve Leibovitz reports.
Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan received the credentials of Israel's new ambassador to the country on Tuesday afternoon, and yet another turning point in the normalization of ties between the two countries after a years-long deterioration in relations. Irit Lilian, who has been Israeli charge d'affaires in Ankara since January 2021, officially became Israeli ambassador to Turkey after presenting her letter of confidence to President Erdogan. Relations between Israel and Turkey have been strained for more than a decade, with Ankara expelling Israel's ambassador following the 2010 Mavi Marmara incident, which saw an Israeli raid on a Gaza flotilla which killed 10 Turkish citizens who attacked Israeli security services. Diplomatic relations were briefly restored in 2016, but 2 years later Turkey once again recalled its ambassador from Israel and expelled the Israeli envoy over clashes between Israel and the Gaza Strip. This year, Israel has made the effort to improve relations as Israeli President Isaac Herzog visited Ankara and the two countries agreed to restore their ambassadors. Now, Lillian will have to work to restore and strengthen relations with what was once Israel's close ally.
And in other news, web users who typed in the word Jew on Google were shocked to discover Tuesday that one of the results in the popular search engine was an anti-Semitic stereotype. The word Jew was listed as an offensive verb that means to bargain with someone in a miserly or petty way. And after a brief outcry from Jewish and Israeli organizations, Google quickly took down the anti-Semitic definition, which was extracted from the Oxford Language Dictionary. And now, when users type in the word Jew, Google's search engine provides the common definition of the noun, which means a member of the people and cultural community whose traditional religion is Judaism and that associate their roots through the ancient Hebrew people to Abraham. And that leads us to our next story. Joining us once again is Gil Hoffman, Executive Director of Honest Reporting. So Gil, good to have you back. Honest Reporting has just released its winners of the Dishonest Reporters Award. Who's been granted this dubious title?
Well, Idara, it's unfortunate we had so many choices. You know, we could have given the award to Tom Friedman, who wrote doomsday report after doomsday report about Israel and then admitted that he hadn't been here in 3 years. We could have given it to the New York Times as a whole for employing journalists who praised Hitler and the terror that we at Honest Reporting had to get them to fire. We could have given it to Whoopi Goldberg. After all, we cover social media here at Honest Reporting as well, and what she said about the Holocaust is absolutely abhorrent. But in the end, we gave it to MSNBC, where they talk about Israel in such a negative way, and they're not even ashamed of it. It's become a badge of honor for them to bash the world's only Jewish state.
Can you give us some examples of their reporting?
Sure. Anything that they could use as an excuse to attack Israel, they do. When they talk about the war in Ukraine, they use it as an attack on Israel. When they talk about the World Cup, the human rights abuses of Qatar, they have used that to attack Israel as well. When it comes to anti-Semitism in the United States, to the rise of right-wing extremism, they connected that also to Israel. It's really gotten out of control over there.
Now, in general, you know, in looking back at 2022, what trends have we seen in terms of reporting on Israel?
Well, so first of all, there's been an unfortunate trend of calling Tel Aviv our capital again, and we have to get them to correct that time and time again. But the main trend, I think, is the new Israeli government that's perceived as a right-wing extremist, the most right-wing extremist government ever by the world. And they're definitely not going to give us the benefit of the doubt or wait for them to actually do anything. They're attacking them before they've even hit the ground running. And I don't expect that to change anytime soon.
Now, we're also seeing a major rise in anti-Semitism across the globe, and these reports clearly matter, you know, and can have a clear impact on what happens on the street, on anti-Semitism. You know, what is Honest Reporting's goal or vision for the coming year, for 2023?
We want to keep on educating people around the world to be more vigilant when it comes to holding their media accountable, because as you point out, when it starts with attacking Israel, leads to attacking Jews around the world, and that's very dangerous. And we've seen that for Israel also, that the key to winning battles on the military battlefront is winning on the media battlefront. And when they've lost in the eyes of the international community's media, then that's led to tremendous pressure on Israel that has made that's made it harder to win in battle and endangered the people of Israel, and that ends up endangering Jews on college campuses in North America. So it all starts with making sure the media gets it right, and that's why I'm glad that Honest Reporting is here to be vigilant in quarterbacking that effort.
Well, we're all glad for those efforts. Gil Hoffman, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today. And moving on, a global leader in the field of desalinated water, Israel has now become the first country in the world to channel desalinated seawater into a natural lake. The new facility at the Sea of Galilee has just been completed and is among the most significant infrastructure project in years. ILTV's Steve Leibovitz reports.
The Mekorot Water Company and the Israel Water Authority completed a new infrastructure project to bring desalinated water from the Mediterranean Sea to the Kinneret. This will maintain the level of the sea even in years when rainfall is lower than average.
הרגע הזה באמת רגע מאוד משמעותי. אחרי 4 שנים טובות כבר שכחנו שיכולות לבוא גם שנות בצורת, והעובדה שמדינת ישראל בעצם יוצרת מערכת שיכולה לספק מים גם בשנים שכונות היא בשורה אדירה בשבילנו, ומפלס הכינרת יכול להישאר על רמות גבוהות יחסית, לא משנה באיזה שנה ולא משנה באיזה סיטואציה.
The 1 billion shekel project includes a new transmission system that pumps desalinated seawater northwards in the opposite direction of the national water carrier. Between 2013 and 2018, there was less rainfall than average, resulting in the steady decline of the Kinneret until it reached the black line beyond which water cannot be pumped. The project will maintain the level of the sea, which is a natural water source that serves as the national water reservoir and supplies Israel with drinkable and agricultural water. The project will help meet the additional challenge of supplying water from the Kinneret to Jordan, as required by an agreement between the two countries. The fresh water reaches the sea by way of an 8-mile-long underground pipe. There will be a series of tests before it goes into operation in the first quarter of 2023. The pipe connects the lake to infrastructure, linking 5 desalination plants to the Mediterranean coast. The water enters the lake via the Zalmon stream near Kibbutz Ginosar in the northwestern shore of the Sea of Galilee.
And from one pool of water to another, the Pool of Siloam was part of the ancient Jerusalem water system within the historical city of David. This important site is now set to be excavated in its entirety. The City of David Foundation and the Israel Antiquities Authority will fully excavate the 2,700-year-old Pool of Siloam and will open the site to the public. The two bodies plan to renew the historical pool built during the ancient reign of King Hezekiah. Siloam is an archaeological site within the City of David, which was part of the water system of the time. The pool was a reservoir for the Gihon spring, which was diverted and stored in underground tunnels. It is commonly believed that it was used as a ritual bath by worshippers visiting the Holy Temple in Jerusalem. The goal of new excavations will be to fully expose the pool for the first time. Throughout the excavations, visitors will be able to see the progress being made. Jerusalem Mayor Moshe Leon said the Siloam pool will be the next great tourist attraction in Israel. In a statement, he said that the pool is of historic interest and will be seen by millions of visitors who come to the Western Wall and the City of David. And now, Innovation on the Bar, an interesting series of events by the Israel Innovation Authority, brings Israel's leading entrepreneurs and innovators to local bars to provide their insights into Israel's thriving startup ecosystem. I was able to sit in on their latest event here in Tel Aviv. We're here today at the Israel Innovation Authority event, Innovation on the Bar. And tonight we're going to hear from Yariv Bash, CEO and co-founder of Flytrex. Let's go inside and take a look.
Flytrex is a global delivery service for food in the US. We're currently the largest home delivery service, doing thousands of deliveries every month on 5 stations. It's just like DoorDash in the US or Wolt here in Israel. You make an order and we deliver you a hamburger and pizza.
An enthusiastic audience listened on as Bash, the former co-founder and CEO of Space IL responsible for the Bereshit moon mission, discussed Israeli innovation and the field of drones.
Been a pie in the sky for more than a decade now. It's taking time because we have to make sure that it's an extremely safe service. The technology has already been with us for more than 2 years, but now the regulators are keeping up with the technology, and it's been quite a ride so far.
And in looking to the future, Bash said he envisions a world in which drones will become a common fixture in the sky. In fact, the Israel Innovation Authority has invested significantly and supported numerous drone companies in making this dream a reality.
The Israel Innovation Authority is actually the biggest seed investor in Israel, investing in cutting-edge technology, and we invest financially, especially in fields of market failure.
The authority recently launched the second phase of the National Drone Initiative, bringing together all relevant actors from the public and private sectors to enable multiple drone technologies in tandem across Israel's skies, and making Israel an international leader in this field.
Gives them gives the regulator for the first time the opportunity to do an adaptive regulation throughout the project. So actually, if we speak about the Israeli Civil Aviation Authority, so from a point where at the beginning of the initiative, we had very little regulation in this field. Today, after 2 years and more than 20,000 flights, they adapted the regulation, and from a point where they were behind or as good as other regulators, they are one of the most advanced regulators in this field in the world.
And now our final story. Until recently, if you had a health, welfare, or security emergency in the central Arava region in Israel, this meant being hours away from first responders. But now, thanks to a Jewish National Fund USA initiative, emergency services are closer than ever before. The Jewish National Fund USA has established the Richard and Nancy Simchis Arava Emergency Response Center, a project aligned with the organization's Blueprint Negev initiative to revitalize southern Israel. The new state-of-the-art center will serve as a central command station to provide travelers and residents in this remote desert region the essential emergency assistance they need.
So the building where we're standing now, the Emergency Response Center here in Sapir, was built by the Jewish National Fund USA, and we are sitting here, the rescue team, the firefighters, the police, MADA, the emergency rescue forces, and we are all sitting here together. Our offices are here, the command center, the joint command center is sitting here, and of course it's a very modern building who facilitate all the teams and all the emergency teams.
This is the first center of its kind in the country, combining all emergency services under one roof, and is the culmination of JNF USA's support for this region.
In the last few years, we had a lot of support coming from the Jewish National Fund USA. We got a lot of equipment. We got new trucks, pickup trucks, vehicles, so we can go into the desert. We can drive safely. Of course, these cars are equipped with all the rescue equipment that we need, medical equipment, radios, flashlights, all the things that we need in order to perform our duties as volunteers.
Israel's Arava region is a popular destination for travelers, but it also holds many dangers.
Well, traveling or hiking in the Arava, people tend to forget that we are in the desert. And once they come here, sometimes during even winter, they come from Jerusalem or from Tel Aviv, which the weather can be very nice and cool up there. And once they come into the desert, it may be even in the winter, of course, and during summertime, could be very hot. So people forget to bring hats and to bring enough water while traveling. That's maybe the most dangerous thing.
An incredible project. And now let's take a look at the weather forecast. Tonight, the forecast calling for partly cloudy skies around the country with lows averaging 6 degrees Celsius or 44 Fahrenheit. And then tomorrow, we can expect clear and sunny skies overhead alongside top temperatures of 19 Celsius or 67 degrees Fahrenheit. That's all for today's news. For more updates from Israel on all your devices, check out our ILTV channels, subscribe to our ILTV newsletter, and don't forget to check out our new and improved website, iltv.tv, with all the latest news from the heart of the State of Israel. I'm the Dargavet Lazi. Be well, and thank you so much for watching.